This is Duke with Ketch Outdoors. We're here in sunny Steamboat Springs trying to take advantage of a little bit of the fall trout bite. Steamboat's a small town about 3.5 hours northwest of Denver. We're not quite sure what exactly we're going to do. The weather's been kind of screwy. Last week we had highs in the lower 70s, upper 60s, and then we woke up this morning to about 16-degree weather. It takes until middle of the afternoon before this bite turns on. The water temperatures need to come up. The fish are a little quiet in the morning when it's only 20 degrees out. We're going to do a little bit of stream fishing. We'll probably get into some skinny water and do some wading. We're also going to take advantage of the dozens of high alpine reservoirs. Some of them are stocked, some of them have natural occurring fish populations. It's an absolutely great spot to be able to take the kayaks out. Typically when I fish in Colorado, it's mostly wading and hiking. It's more of adventure fishing. This trip always ends up being a fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing. We always seem to want to adventure and see new spots. I could go to a dozen places within 15 minutes that are going to produce fish, but it's just not the same thing as going and adventuring, finding new water. We're going to head about 40 miles north of Steamboat, north of the little town in northern Colorado called Walden. And we're going to go check out a couple stretches of the North Platte River.
All right, so after a little bit of a drive, here we are at the Northgate Canyon, and we're about to fish the North Platte River. We're going to have a little bit of a hike in, but we'll see what we can get into.
Day one, we had an opportunity to climb up into the Northgate section of the North Platte River that the locals affectionately refer to as 4 Mile Canyon. What a great spot to take in some of the natural scenery in Colorado. It also happens to be a place where historically we found good native brown trout running through that area at this time of year. We hiked in probably about 4.5 to 5 miles the first day. We headed straight for the spot where we wanted to start. Immediately as we set up to start doing some filming, 2 really nice native trout right there in the first spot. 2 of the better fish we caught all trip. We caught a lot of fish in the 12 to 14 inch, 15 inch kind of range, but those first 2 fish on the second day, much healthier, much bigger, 17, 18, 19 inch fish. Those are the trophy fish that guys hike out that far to go get. And we basically did it all with 2 very simple setups. We don't use fly tackle. We are all conventional spinning tackle, and we do that because a lot of the river system that we fish up here has some pike in it. It's just a lot less knot tying, a lot less equipment management, and a lot more fishing, which is what we're up here to do. If you're in heavy moving water, you're gonna need to run that spinnerbait, and you're gonna need to run it a lot faster than you're used to running it because the water's moving. Now that jerkbait isn't gonna look natural in a moving water situation. I'm in a river, but it's very still water. That's where you can make the jerkbait work. It's no different than you'd use a jerkbait to catch pike or bass, say in the Midwest. It's just a smaller presentation on a smaller equipment, and it worked absolutely fantastically.
You put in a lot of time and a lot of miles really on your legs. You're hiking more than fishing. You know you got to walk waist deep, bunch of water coming at you just to get to the point where you could start walking back. I think I climbed half of a mountain just trying to get to the spot.
Elevation may become a concern. We're doing as much as we can to suck down as much water. Dehydration is something that you're going to deal with. You know, we're not going to fish in any water below 7,000 feet. We'll fish in a lot of water that's between 9,000 and 11,000 feet. You have to be conscious to make sure you stay hydrated and be careful, because you'll cramp up faster, you'll dehydrate faster, you'll get tired faster, and the last thing you want is to be hiked out 6-7 miles into the wilderness chasing trout and find out that you don't have enough gas left in the tank to make it back to the truck.
Out here this time of year, you know, you live and die by the sun, so we were able to get out a little early. We ended up knocking it out of the park. Caught a lot of pools, caught a ton of fish. It was amazing, especially at the end. And to be able to walk through and you see the sun hitting the cathedral walls that were set up, it was amazing. You're seeing water running, still water, you're seeing fish jump, you're seeing your friends catch fish. When you see those points in the river that open up in those deep pools and you riffles around a lot of these boulders, you know exactly what you're going for. That's where you want to target. And that's where we were at all day. It was a ton of fun. Would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yesterday was an absolute blast. We hiked into the North Platte River and we had some fantastic fishing. It seemed like anything we threw in water that looked tasty was producing fish. We were managing to get fish both on the spinnerbait bite and on the jerkbait bite. Right now we're gonna head up to some high alpine lakes in the flat top area. It's a gorgeous area. It's fall time, so the leaves are changing colors. Sometimes it's so easy to get absorbed into the fishing and not take a minute to just appreciate your surroundings, because with the changing leaves and the changing seasons, this time of year, Colorado, especially this region in the Yampa Valley, is just spectacular. Being from Illinois, let's just say that I don't fish in surroundings nearly as picturesque. The nights can get a little cold, but by about 10 or 11 o'clock, the day's just perfect for fishing. It's always sunny skies with a cool breeze. Doesn't seem to really ever get cold until the fish stop biting and you're loading back up on the truck. We didn't fish directly in Steamboat. We prefer to always adventure and see new spots. We very rarely will hit 2 spots on back-to-back days or even twice during a trip. However, the first 2 days of fishing were so good that we literally just repeated them on days 3 and 4. I forgot my Dakota Lithium battery and we didn't have a fish finder, so we were keying up on what we thought was about 12 to 15 foot water, and we were running baits in 8 to 12 feet. That turned out to be so good that we really didn't even develop any more patterns on the reservoirs. We did manage to get some with jerkbait, and we did sight cast a certain rising fish with some small 1/8 ounce buzz baits with some small spinner baits. Those also worked, but overall not nearly as effective as just covering water. We were able to change it up a little bit, and we got into mostly a trolling bite. Now, yeah, I know everyone's like, oh, you're trolling for trout. Well, on several days we caught and landed to the boat over 100 trout. This was fishing water that we had never fished before, using techniques that we weren't sure if they would work, and it took us all of about an hour to dial a pattern in. It was just one after another, and the size was all over the place. Sure, we caught plenty of little dinks, but we also caught some great fish. The guys were joking they could hardly pull me away from the reservoirs. These things are teeming with fish. They see a fishing culture locally that mostly is using fly tackle. They don't see the presentations that we put forward. They are seeing the same stuff over and over, and I think a lot of our success can be attributed to the fact that we're thinking outside of the box. We're not doing this exactly the way all the locals are doing it. Under most circumstances, I do release most of the fish I catch. However, I happen to love trout. We'll probably catch several hundred fish, and all but a few of them will make their way back into the water, but we will be taking a couple. And what that means is hopefully a couple of nights, some of these trout, they're gonna hit the frying pan, hit the grill. It's nice every now and again to have part of that visceral feeling of fishing that I can feed myself with this hobby. We do enjoy taking some fish on these trips, and there's nothing like fresh fish.
It was after that that I had this other fish, and I didn't think to use the never lost feathers.
Earning your keep. After several hours of pure adventure in the thin air of Colorado's alpine country, it's time for a proper meal. And there's none better than the fish you just worked to catch. Set the grill ablaze and get that fillet knife sharp. Simple preparations are often the best. So after slicing open the belly, removing the guts, and giving those meaty fillets a cold rinse, we slather them up with a generous coating of olive oil and sea salt. Then stuffed them full of fresh thyme and juicy lemon. Just a few minutes on a hot grill, and the delicate flaky fillets were plated along with steamed broccoli and a cool cucumber salad. Organic goodness, and a full belly with friends. Time to toast to a day well played.
Over the course of this trip, we probably boated 250 to 300 fish in 4 days. We didn't catch any bass, and we didn't get into any of the sections of the Yampa that have pike this year. So it was an all trout bite. We caught all the species of local trout. We saw brook trout, brown trout, rainbows, cutbows, and cutthroats. This is a trip that I've been doing for over 30 years. I've been fishing this area, and I've been taking trips like this with my dad and with my close friends for the last 20. And it's something that I'll just keep continuing to do because we always find something new when we come here. We always have a good time. It's hard to find anything to complain about. This is basically what we saw every day. We woke up to about 15 to 20 degree weather every day, but by midday, it's 60 degrees. It's been really comfortable. The fishing's been absolutely outstanding. All right, that's a wrap on this shoot. This is Duke with Ketch Outdoors, reminding you to stay safe and keep those lines tight.
Dakota Lithium, the official battery of Ketch Outdoors. Power your passion with the industry's most reliable lithium battery.